How's it going, guys? Richard Wolves here. Today I am joined by my lovely girlfriend, Shannon. Anthony isn't here today, so this is going to be Mike and Shannon today.
Hi, guys. What's up?
Hi, babe. How's it going? So we just saw, yesterday we saw Bird Box. I've almost said Bird Cage and Bird Man like 10 times, but Bird Box. Okay. So we thought we'd talk about it while we do our puzzle. We're doing a Rick and Morty puzzle. So if you hear weird noises, hopefully it's just the puzzle.
And random exclamations of success.
Yes. So our initial feelings on Bird Box, I know it's getting a lot of mixed reviews, and we understand why. We weren't really too thrilled with it, right? No.
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
Right.
It was okay.
We appreciated it.
Yeah.
One of those movies that we appreciate, and we didn't flat out hate, but we didn't flat out like. We're definitely,
Yeah, we appreciate what it was trying to do. We can see, like, a lot of the symbolism that people are finding.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I personally just couldn't really connect to the story. And I didn't really feel like the story did a good job of, like, keeping us there and keeping us with the characters long enough.
Yeah. I felt like it tried to do a lot. It really tried to do a lot. They were trying to do, like, 3 different movies. They were trying to do Dawn of the Dead, The Mist, freaking, like, The Road. They were trying to do, like, a bunch of different movies, and
I do think it was a really cool concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
And trust me, I'm the one that's always like, it's okay if we don't really understand it. Like, maybe it was on purpose. Like, It's cool that they didn't show the monsters. It's cool that they didn't really explain. But I don't know. I like I said, I'm always that person. But I felt like I could have done with a little bit more clarification as to what exactly was going on.
It's like one of those things where it's kind of left for the interpretation, and I kind of don't like when movies do that because I feel like it's lazy. I feel like they leave things out for interpretation, air quotes, just because they don't know what they want to do with it, or like they don't know how to tie things up. Like the monsters in this movie, they can be taken as a million different things. It can be demons. It can be a biological weapon.
Or now it's like symbolisms of depression or postpartum. Which again, like if that's how you're choosing to see it, that's cool.
Fine. Yeah, we're not taking that away from you at all. If you like this movie, that's great. Like, I can totally see why people love this movie. Like, it's just, it didn't do it for us.
Why don't we talk about why?
Okay, so the format for today's episode is gonna be we're gonna do a hopefully quick recap of the of the movie, and then as we go along we'll talk about like what we didn't like about this scene and that scene, and then in the end, once we've like reviewed it a little more, we'll give our final score. Right now, our score is like 5 out of 10, maybe a 6. It depends on what I ate last night, kind of thing. Because right now I'm not feeling too great, and that movie is not meshing well with me. Anyways, okay, so the movie starts off with present day, and Sandra Bullock, who is Mallory, right? Her name, Mallory, is like yelling at her kids, basically saying, I'm only going to say this once, which I was telling Shannon when that happened. Like, I hate when people say that in movies. Because
and then, like, spoiler, she says it twice.
She says it twice.
Movie. She says the same speech twice. So we're like, so it's just funny that she says, I'm only going to say this once.
Yeah,
we're hearing it twice.
She says it basically once, but
it feels like
we
hear it a lot.
She said it again in the end. Like, they repeated the scene. So it's like, okay, we really don't need to see that again. But whatever, that's just us nitpicking. Also, we saw the trailer like right before we saw the movie, so we felt like I felt like Sandra Bullock was yelling at me. Like at first she was like, "Michael, I'm only gonna tell you this once." I'm like, "Well, fuck, okay, should I write this down?" And that's why I hate when people do that in movies. Like I know they're trying to make it sound a little more dramatic, but I really feel like that's not how things would happen in real life. I feel like if you're planning an escape or some kind of run for
that's like I get it. They're tiny. Like when you finally see the kids, like it's sad because you're like they're literally 2.
I get the dramatic.
They can barely even say her name.
Yeah.
Mallory. Like.
Which was weird because they kept calling her Mallory instead of Mom, so that was, I guess, kind of telling.
Yeah.
As to what was going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, like I feel like if you're really planning something in real life and you have instructions for someone you have to give someone instructions, you're gonna repeat them. Like, don't fuck this up. Do not open your eyes.
I mean, they're little, so maybe it was like to emphasize focus.
I get it. Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So she says that she's basically saying, don't open your eyes, listen to me, blah blah blah, or you'll die, which was good. Like that was really good. Her acting is really great in this movie. Like Sandra Bullock is great.
Yeah. She also doesn't age. She's a vampire.
Age at all. Yeah. She bathes in the blood of her enemies. So and then the movie cuts to them like sneaking onto a boat, not sneaking, but going on a boat. Following string and stuff to get to the boat, which is very anxiety inducing because I can't even imagine. I kind of wish the movie showed you a little more of like how they have that whole like blindfold thing to make you feel like you have no idea where they're going kind of thing. Because it's kind of like you're watching someone like blindfolded walking and the whole time you're like just make a left.
Yeah, but what kind of movie would it be if we just see something through?
I know, but there's ways to make it feel a little more claustrophobic and like blindy,
Okay.
But still, that's just another nitpick thing. So, whatever, they get to the boat, and they're talking about how they had to go somewhere, blah, 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 and then it cuts to 5 years in the past, and you see Sandra Bullock painting, or Mallory painting, and then she's painting, like, a dinner scene, and then, what's her name again, babe? Oh, my God.
Sarah Paulson, babe.
Sarah Paulson, who's her character's name's Shannon, so I can't forget that one, or I'll be sleeping on the couch. She walks in, and then she's, like, or immediately starts, like, giving us like a little more context into what's going on with Mallory and her psychology. She's like, "What are you painting? Blah blah blah. Like, are you gonna eat? Like the typical like
you have no food.
You have no food. Like, what are you doing with your life? Kind of thing." And at first, I thought they were in a relationship.
But that's only because he's only used to seeing her play a lesbian.
Yes,
because she's gay in real life.
Yes. So I was like, okay, this is cool. Love lesbians.
Terrible.
Yeah. And then they start mentioning like things about their mom, like okay, they're their sisters. So whatever. So Shannon, wait, what's her name?
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson is giving her like like kind of like advice about food and like getting out, and then they start talking about the painting. They start giving us a little more context about Mallory and how she has like trouble connecting, because basically the painting is about people at a dinner table, but they feel like they're not connected and they're lonely. And
so like we were like trying to like listen to what other people thought about this movie, and apparently it's that she had a one night stand and that's why she's pregnant now, but like we didn't get that at all.
Yeah.
So it sounded more like, oh no, because even Sarah, her sister says, oh, he might as well have been a roommate. Yeah. Giving the impression that this is someone that's been around for a while. So I think that person that we listened to just didn't watch the movie close enough.
And it was more than one thing that we listened to. We listened to, like we read synopses, and we listened to a couple of the videos, like seeing what other people were thinking. And other people picked up this whole, like, one night stand thing, but we didn't get that at all.
Like, if anything, I'm like, okay, maybe, like maybe she was raped, and, like, maybe that's why now, like, she's, like, why am I having this baby? But, like, it was just, like, hard to... And, like, again, like, I've heard of a lot that, like, there's a lot of women that it's, like, they're pregnant and they're genuinely scared that they're not going to be able to connect with their child. Or, like, maybe they didn't want it right now, so, like, they're having a tough time, like, reconciling.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
You know, like, I get it. Everybody goes through, like, a different journey, but in terms of, like, the movie storytelling, we weren't really sure what we were trying to... What we were supposed to pick up.
Yeah.
Like, what we were missing.
And there's actual medical... Isn't there like a medical term for like when you reject a baby kind of thing? Like it's like it makes you depressed.
Oh yeah, postpartum depression.
But that's after you had the baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure if there was like a version that's like during.
Whatever.
We weren't sure what they were trying to tell us with that whole
everybody
scene.
Goes through different
stuff.
stuff.
Of course, exactly. Like it's a baby in your stomach. Like I mean your womb.
Alien.
I'm a man. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting flustered talking about things I don't know about. I'm such a basic man. Anyways, so whatever. So like, it's kind of like this whole like, she's already giving us clues that she's like very conflicted about this pregnancy, and then like 10 minutes into this conversation, Shannon's like, "Oh, by the way, have you seen what's going on in the news?" It's like.
No, yeah. And it's like when she finally turns on the TV, it's like World War Z.
It's like World War Z. Yeah, literally. It's like everyone's like, the world's falling apart. I'm like, yo, that should have been the first thing that came out of your mouth. Like, you open the door, and then you enter the scene and be like, yo, Sandra Bullock.
It's because she's a horse girl, babe. She's like a happy little horse girl.
Yes, yeah. And that's when we realized it, and she kept talking about, like, all of this girl's lines in this movie were about horses. Like, I felt like every word, like, she's in the mood for like 10 seconds, and then it's like
all she talked about was
horses. So it explains why she didn't freaking tell Sandra Bullock the world was coming to an end. Like,
she was too busy thinking about her Arabian stallion that she was gonna find.
Whatever. So then what happens next, man?
So then, while they're walking in to the hospital, to the OBGYN's office, they make eye contact with this one girl, letting us know, okay, she's gonna be important in like a second.
Yeah.
And so
the camera like zooms into this one girl in an bright orange like coat.
Jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like juicy tracksuit.
Mind you, like what was on the TV a second ago was that there was mass suicides in Russia or some shit. Like, that's insane. Like, that's not like a hurricane in Siberia. That's a major freaking issue. But oh no, business as usual. So they go to the freaking maternity doctor.
Yeah. So they're there, and then they're talking with the. Did we already talk about the doctor?
No.
I'm super spacey.
No. This puzzle's killing me.
So, yeah, the doctor basically tells her, like, it's cool, you can avoid these problems, like, you can try and
Sandra
pretend...
Bullock is doing more, like the denial thing.
Yeah, it's, like, denial. Her and her sister talk about, like, downing a bottle of wine, and the doctor's like, really? Like, right in front of me?
Right in front of me, yeah.
And she's like, you know, like, you can avoid this as much as you can, but, like, this baby's gonna come, so maybe you, like, stop calling it Little Bean. Because
the next time you come out of here, there's gonna be 3 of you walking out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then...
So
Miss Paulson is still talking about horses the entire time.
Yeah. And so then she like gives her like a pamphlet like considering adoption. Like
right.
look, if you don't want it, cool, it's fine, no judgment. But like figure out what you want to do.
Which I thought was neat considering what happens later on in the story. Because she ends up adopting
oh yeah, you're right.
Dumpling's child, so
So the actress that plays Olympia later on in the movie, she was in the other Netflix movie called Dumpling that I'm obsessed with.
Which
but it made it so that we couldn't stop calling her Dumpling the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then back to Mallory and Shannon.
Right, so they have like the whole ultrasound thing, and then Horse Girl. I'm just gonna call her Horse Girl from now on. Horse Girl decides to like, okay, I'm gonna go start the car.
Sick. Yeah, because she's Mallory's throwing up in the bathroom.
That's right, and then she asks, "Is it chunky?" Like Horse Girl like knocks on the door while Sandra Bullock is throwing up, and as if it wasn't gross enough, because we were eating it while this scene was happening.
Yeah,
and then
hungover too.
Horse Girl, hungover. Horse Girl is like knocking on the door, like, "Is everything okay? Are you throwing up?" Like, yes, she's throwing up. And then she's like, "Is it chunky?" Who the fuck asked that? Babe, if I'm ever throwing up and you ask me if it's chunky, I'm gonna throw up on your face.
The thing is that I can't do throw up, so I might not even be around you, babe. And I apologize in advance.
Okay, well, guys, don't ask people what their vomit is like when they're throwing up.
All right, so
anyway, so she goes to search the car, and then like Sandra Bullock gets out of the bathroom,
and so she sees the same. Well, you see like all the like hospital staff like in a tizzy, and you're like, okay, something's wrong. And then it turns out that girl in the orange juicy tracksuit is literally bashing her head against this glass.
Yeah.
And like it's a little terrifying.
I love how she looks right at Sandra Bullock. Like,
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like that was like a dramatic moment of the.
As if she knew that's the main character.
Yeah. So then Sandra Bullock like is like, all right, we need to get out of Dodge, and runs out of the hospital.
Well, fuck that.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. And then she decides to she runs to the car because Horse Girl is like in the car.
She's
outside.
Like, hey, let's go.
Like, hey,
how you feeling?
Is it chunky? Is it moist?
Yeah, stop. I hate that word.
Yeah, I hate that word too.
Okay, so then she's like, we need to go.
She's like putting her seatbelt on. She's like, whatever is happening over there is happening here.
Yeah.
It's like, which in hindsight, that was a really cool, neat line. Because I feel like we were always watching things about like third world countries falling apart, and then like acting like that's over there, not over here.
Yeah.
So I really liked when she was like, that whatever's happening over there is happening here.
It's actually relevant to our lives.
Which is really creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they start driving.
Yeah, they start driving, and then it's like utter chaos. Like from like 0 to 10,000, all of a sudden now it's like the world is in
falling
utter
apart.
chaos.
Falling apart.
So that felt like a little like out of nowhere.
Yeah. There was like no build up for that.
Even though they said that it wasn't a viral thing, it felt very viral.
Yeah.
Which now demons, I get it. Cool. They're not stuck to one location. Fine.
Yeah.
But it just felt very, very quick.
Yeah.
So what else? All right. So they're driving.
And
they're trying to get to safety.
She says another Horse Girl joke. She's like,
hold your horses.
She's like, if we weren't a horse, we wouldn't be in traffic right now. Like, lady, if you were a horse, you'd be dead.
No, she was like, soon. She's like, soon. All you're gonna want to do is like be on a horse.
Yeah,
than, like in the city or
some shit like that. I was like, oh my god, lady, the world's falling apart.
You can talk about his horses.
I think about horses right now.
Yeah, but she was like trying to stay positive. Like, She was just like a happy little girl.
That didn't work out.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, Sarah Paulson. She's like
That's
one of
her
like
name.
the biggest clues, or at least first clues into what it is that's happening.
Yeah.
Because she freezes and she literally looks like she's seen like the most terrible thing that she's ever seen and will ever see again.
Yeah.
To the point that like she starts swerving and then car flips over. They both survive miraculously. The car completely flipped over.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong. Nobody's bleeding.
Homegirl's still
Everything's
pregnant.
fine. Yeah, homegirl's still very pregnant. She's fine.
Car flips.
And Sarah walks out and like looks like the most sad, which she's so good at this. She's so good.
She's really good at
face,
crying.
her face acting is amazing.
Yeah, so,
I mean, she's just great.
Yeah.
But and then she steps right in front of like a charging truck.
Yeah. I didn't really like that whole like world falling. Whenever I watch movies about the world ending, I always love like the scene where you see the world ending. I didn't like, that scene because when she started going nuts, like she's driving and then she starts crying and like and
she's
then,
like, what is that? What the hell is that?
Yeah, and
like,
then Sandra Bullock's like, what are you looking at? Like, what are you seeing?
And then she starts swerving.
And then like I found it very hard to believe that they didn't crash immediately because.
Well, no, it's because she was helping her steer.
I guess, but like, imagine doing that in real life. Like, I just it's like a nitpick thing for me. Like, whenever like they miss every single car, every single person, and it's. Like,
I mean, there were a couple.
It was for dramatic effect.
But there were a couple moments in this movie that I'm like, really, there's no way you made it out of that alive.
Right? Of course, yeah. So whatever. So then she kills herself, and then Sandra Bullock like stumbles along the.
And she gets pushed down like 87 times.
Yeah, like a freaking stampede of people running away.
And then finally, some poor soul sees her.
Which was very convenient.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. It was like this girl at her house.
This lady runs out of her house, and she's like, she's pregnant. She's pregnant.
And then freaking what's this guy's name, babe?
Malkovich.
John Malkovich is like yelling, "Leave her!" John Malkovich is John Malkovich in this movie. Like that's literally what he is. He didn't even have to act. He was just himself. But less funny. John Malkovich is usually like that funny, douchey old man. But he wasn't in this movie.
Like he wasn't really. The writing. Like I feel like the writing was very uninspired.
They thought that okay, we have John Malkovich. It should just be John Malkovich.
Yeah, and I feel the same with Sarah Paulson and with like let's just have her talk about horses the whole time and with even Sandra Bullock. Like a lot of her lines, like I was like they're good because it's her. Yeah. But it could have been better.
It could have been way better. Yeah. But we're gonna get into we're gonna dive more into that whole character development thing. So so this lady, which we're led to presume is John Malkovich's wife, is like running towards her, and John Malkovich is saying, "Don't go out there." But she's like, "Oh, she's pregnant."
She's pregnant. She goes out there. The second that she gets to her, she starts talking to her dead mom.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay. So now is it ghosts? What is it?
Right.
And she walks straight into a burning car and dies. In the car.
Yeah, she puts her happy ass in a burning ass car.
Yeah,
and
kills herself.
Burns. Yeah. And then John Malkovich just watches from his kitchen.
Yeah, and I guess that's the whole thing. Like he was so calm.
Yeah, it was
when
very
that
calm.
happened.
Like he didn't even cry.
Like he seemed slightly annoyed. That's the thing. The entire time he just seemed slightly annoyed. He
seemed very.
Everything.
Yeah, he's like, this is kind of annoying. That's it.
Yeah.
And then Sandra Bullock. I don't even know why this girl went to go help her because Sandra Bullock gets. Oh no, Tom.
She's in shock.
Right. Tom finds her.
Yeah.
It was she got very lucky. Sandra Bullock got super lucky. Anyways, the character Tom, which is like this super built black guy, gets her. Like hey, we gotta go, and then takes her into the house that the lady came from, and John Malkovich is in. And then we have the whole typical oh my god, we just made it, zombies are outside kind of thing. What's going on? Scene where no one knows what's going on. And then you have one of the guys from Get Out, the chunky black guy from Get Out, who's really funny, but he was nowhere near funny in this movie. And then of course you have John Malkovich, and then you have this cop trainee, who's this she looks like she's 12, and then you have this really lanky blonde drug dealer.
Yeah, it just felt like everybody was a stereotype in that house.
It did. It literally felt like...
Which is, I guess, why people were starting to think, every character represents something. But I think that's just, like you said, lazy writing.
Lazy writing, yeah. And then you also have the Chinese guy from Jurassic Park. I guess he's the owner of the house?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the owner of the house.
Because he's the one who lets
and then you have Sarah, and then you have Sandra Bullock, obviously. Tom, the black guy. I'm missing anybody else from this...
the little old lady.
Oh, the little old lady from Storyline's Playbook. She's so cute. Oh, my God. I was rooting for her the whole movie. Ay, pobrecito. Anyways, and then they have the whole typical what's going on, what do you guys know kind of thing.
And then you have what was his name? Charlie. What is that his name? Charlie.
Who's Charlie?
The one from Get Out.
Was his name Charlie? I thought his name was Carl.
Was it Carl?
It's something in the steel. We'll call him Charlie. Charlie from Get Out happens to be writing a book about the end of the world.
About these demons that fit the description of what's happening
so stupid.
to a T.
So stupid. He's like, oh, I know it's an entity. He kind of knew a little bit too much. But but didn't know anything. Also, he doesn't really know what these demons are. But everyone knows that if you see them, you end up killing yourself and going crazy. Yeah. So no one really knows what they look like.
They personify your worst fears. Apparently.
But that's what I didn't get.
But it was different for everybody because if it's fears, then why did the lady see her mom?
Yes.
And she looked like she was happy to see her mom because I get it. Some people aren't real excited to see their parents.
Right.
But she was she looked real sad and happy.
Yeah.
Or she was because she was don't go don't leave yet.
Yeah, so she was also looking up. I think she was looking looking up as if like heaven kind of thing. Or maybe I remember that wrong. But also, what I didn't get is that they made this jump that I can't rectify. They went from it being some kind of thing that's taking over the world to they're creatures now. How do they know they're creatures? If you haven't seen them, how do you know they're creatures?
Yeah. They're
just oh, there's some creatures out there, and if you see them, you go crazy. How do you know? Because if you see them, you go crazy and you die. So it's kind of how do you know that they're creatures? You can't see them, you can't hear them.
I guess they just assumed.
It was kind of they made a really huge assumption.
Are you just laying out pieces? I'm a little confused.
I'm laying out the faces. I can't find anything, babe. I'm really bad at puzzling.
I was working on my little area and I look over and it's just vomit of pieces.
Is it chunky? Well, these are chunky pieces. So they make this really crazy jump in knowledge where mind you, what's happening is that people are going nuts and killing themselves, and then out of nowhere Charlie's oh, they're creatures. It's how, and then everyone starts calling them creatures.
He started calling them demons.
Yeah, but how do you know? All you're seeing is people kill themselves. How do you know that they're seeing demons? It's kind of the writing.
That's just the best explanation that they have.
I felt like it was the director wanted it to be demons, so he made them call them demons. I felt like it was a really there was no information for them to have to be calling them demons. Anyways, so they start calling them demons, and somehow they know that they see how do they know that you see your biggest fear? Is that what he thinks?
That's what he tells them. He's every culture calls him something different. Yeah. But basically, it's your worst fears to the point where you're.
But it's also what you're saying. But the mom, the lady.
It's almost like Dementors. Okay, I think they're clear Dementors. They're Dementors we don't see.
Which I didn't like.
Well, yeah, but it's basically they make you feel so terrible that it's you die.
But it's also okay. Let's just sidetrack for a second. Let's say I see this thing.
Okay.
And it makes me think about fucking cockroaches. Cockroaches are my biggest fucking fear. And I see a bunch of fucking cockroaches. Or I see my biggest failure. I just see myself being a huge failure. Can't you just strap me to a table and then and make me not kill myself?
Okay, well that no, I think at that point it's it
infects you.
No, yeah, I think it infects your brain.
I guess.
Because later on with the mental patients or the crazy people, their eyes change. They're also changed forever.
You're right.
It's not that they were just unaffected. They just don't kill themselves.
Yeah, you're right. I think it would have been really cool if they had strapped somebody down who wasn't a crazy, but was a good person and saw the demon and had a conversation with them. How do you feel? What's going on? Which would have been really cool.
A perfect opportunity for that would have been we're jumping ahead a little bit, but yeah, the owner of the house, he basically sacrifices himself to watch the.
And he dies in a most nonsensical way.
Yeah, that whole scene, I feel it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't make sense. After they strapped him down, why would everybody leave?
Yeah.
They should have left at least one person there.
Right.
In case, because they knew that there was a possibility that. Mm-hmm. He was gonna see this thing and try and kill himself. They knew that it was.
Why can't we see his reaction?
That's why they strapped him down. That's why they did the whole thing. Why didn't they have somebody there, not looking at the monitors, but to just keep an eye out?
Yeah, keep an eye on him. Yeah.
No, everybody went about their business. Sunday, chill Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Dumplin is listening to her music. Everybody's chill, and all of a sudden, they hear all this thumping, and they're like, yeah, okay, he knocked himself over and killed himself.
Yeah. So let's get back to the synopsis. So at some point they turn the TV and they get this report saying basically you'll be okay if you stay inside and don't look at whatever is happening, which is kind of weird. So they block out all the windows, close all the doors, which to me is really weird because why can't these things go inside?
Okay, that was the biggest unanswered question for me. Like, that was the biggest issue.
Yeah, because later on you even see Sandra Bullock in some kind of like facility, looking for facility.
Yeah,
facility, anemone, looking for supplies, and then like she hears something outside, but she's like she takes off her blindfold the moment she gets inside. So are these things just they can't?
No, yeah, they can't go inside. That's the rule. But I'm like,
but who's like what? That's
why is it like in Vampire Diaries how like vampires can't come into the house unless they're like invited in? Like
no, bro.
But at least Vampire Diaries told us that, you know.
I remember like we were watching the movie and we're like, "Dad, what's going on?"
Like these are very respectful demonic entities.
Babe, I found a piece. I connected a piece.
Oh, congrats, babe!
God, we've been doing this for 25 minutes. And I disconnected my first piece.
Oh my God, 25 minutes? That's already how long we've been talking. Damn, we ramble.
Yeah. So they get that basic like end of the world broadcast report, and then of course the TV goes like into the emergency broadcast system bullshit, and then they're like trying to figure out what to do, what's gonna happen. A bunch of like really boring scenes that I can't even remember. It's like they're trying to establish the characters. With the little quirks, like you have like the girl who's like a trainee who thinks she's a cop but she's not, she's a trainee, and then you have the druggy guy,
and then they have like instant love affair.
Yeah, they have an instant love affair, whatever.
Again, like I felt like that was time wasted because, well, like if those of you who've seen the movie, like you know that they're around for like 20 minutes and then they decide to steal the car and get the fuck out. And then we never see them again. We don't know if they die. We just don't know. They just left.
That's it. Off screen, off stage. Whatever, and then you get the scene with the Asian guy because he thinks that I'm just gonna call him Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is like, oh, this is my house. Like I have, mind you, it's like 20 minutes into the movie or like into them being in the house. He's like, oh, by the way, I have video cameras throughout the entire house. It's like, why wouldn't you mention that before?
Well, I guess. I mean, let's forgive him for that. Like, I mean, the world is literally falling apart.
Forgiven. Jurassic Park, you're forgiven. And then he's like, well, we can't see them with our eyes. Maybe we can see them through a feed, through a camera. It's digital. You're not really seeing them. You're seeing with the camera.
Yeah, like he was trying to pull a Hermione with the basilisk and her mirror.
Yeah.
No, that was Ginny. But yeah, you know what I mean. No, it was Hermione. Yeah, it was Hermione.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways,
no.
So then they take him upstairs where he has his cameras. They strap him down, like tie him down, I guess to prevent him from killing himself. And he's gonna watch the feed, and then everyone leaves. Like Shannon was saying, like what? Why? Why are you leaving?
Yeah, that was the biggest
thing. It made
thing.
no sense. Watch him, see what's happening. Like, what if he tries to kill himself and he escapes? Guess what? He does escape and he kills himself. No, he doesn't even escape. He waddles and like he hits his head against the fireplace or some shit, and then like his head explodes. Yeah. Made no sense. His head was made out of paper mache. his head just popped.
He fell over on like a solid rock.
So
okay, sure.
Your head would not pop.
It didn't pop.
He just bled out, and no one even tried to stop the bleeding. They just like, oh my god, he's dead. Like don't look, and they start bashing the computer screen like in case they see something. It just felt really weird. After that, a couple more scenes of like trying to flesh out these characters. It was really boring.
That's the thing. It's just
really boring.
This movie, like usually, like, and I get it. Like most movies and most TV shows make it very obvious that the main character has plot armor, that they're the main character, and that everybody else is kind of just there. Like their whole little arch is gonna revolve around them.
Yeah.
And it was so obvious in this movie. Like everybody felt like a filler character.
Yeah.
So
even
was
John Malkovich.
Yeah, so it just, I guess that's where my sense of like I don't care came from, because like I just knew that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That like I didn't have to get invested in these characters, because especially I think it's also because the movie starts out and we know that it's just her and the two kids, so it's like we know that everybody's gonna die. I kind of don't care. Yeah,
it was kind of like, I remember I even told Shannon, because throughout the boring scenes of them at the house, they would cut to Sandra Bullock and her two kids
on the journey
on the river, because they're going to they heard some like radio broadcast of like some safe haven, like every other like survival horror movie, and they had to go. And they're basically the voice said the fastest way to us on the river, which keep that in mind, because later on I'm going to bring that up. Okay, And it keeps coming back. Like, the movie will cut back to them on the river and be like, 6 hours in the river, 20 hours in the river, 24 hours in the river. It's like, oh my god, we get it. It's a long-ass journey on this fucking river. We get it. The river scenes were great because the cinematography was on like, they had these cool drone shots. It was really neat to look at, but we didn't need 20 hours of this shit. And I was telling Shannon, like, I felt like the movie should have been about them it should have been like the journey of Sandra Bullock and her kids trying to get to where they're going.
And like, I appreciate the backstory. Like, it wasn't all bad. Like, there were some like cool moments. Like, I love the scene with Sandra Bullock and John Malkovich, like, talking in the living room where she's like basically comparing him to her dad, and they have that one like toast to like, let it be more than just whether like the assholes or the dead. Right. Like, let's hope that there is more to life than that. Yeah.
I think it was just too much of that.
Yeah, like you called it melodrama. Like, that's exactly what it was.
It should have been. I think it should have been her and her kids on the river with little mini flashbacks.
Like, I would have liked to see more of her, Tom, and the two kids.
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked to see more of that.
Yeah.
And not so much of like all these other characters that they were literally just cannon fodder.
Yeah. You know what I like? As much as I love the scenes where the world ends, I feel like we could have done without Sarah Paulson dying and the world falling apart, kind of thing.
Yes and no. I feel like if you're gonna do an end of the world movie, you have to have an end of the world.
But that's what I'm saying. It felt like 3 different movies. It felt like War Z, The Road. Yeah. What's that? A Quiet Place. The Mist. Dawn of the Dead. It felt like 20 different movies, and in not a good way. It wasn't like, okay, this reminded me of that. No, it literally felt like 5 different movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then the Jurassic Park dies, and then a couple more scenes of just like bullshit happen, which I can't really remember. All I remember, the part that happens next that's important is, I think Dumpling shows up, right?
Oh yeah.
So her name is Olympia.
Olympia showed up before that.
Before that?
Olympia was around already for when he died.
Okay, so before Jurassic Park dies, Olympia knocks on the door. Yeah. And they let her in. Carl lets her in.
And he's like, great, we'll all die in the maternity ward.
And then,
she happens to be just as pregnant, like exactly to like later on to the day.
Yeah.
Pregnant. Like,
John Malkovich is like, oh my god, we're gonna die in a maternity ward, because 2 pregnant ladies, and like you said, they're both their due dates are like very close to each other. It's like, okay,
it's like, and again,
this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna play a role later.
You could tell that they just put her there so that Sandra Bullock, so that Mallory would have somebody to like relate to.
Yeah.
To have like a contrast, like, oh, Sandra Bullock is so like hard and tough. Like, I was raised by wolves. And then,
oh my god, I hated that line.
I was raised by wolves, and then the other one's like, I was spoiled, like they gave me too much love, and like,
that's why I'm so big.
Like, it was just
okay.
So it was just like too much, like, it was too obvious.
She was really annoying. Like,
I guess that's what it was. Like, I hate when movies baby us, and I feel like this movie tried to not baby us in all the wrong ways, and then they babied us in all the wrong ways. In a bunch of
different ways, yeah. So she shows up. She's preggo as fuck. John Malkovich is grumpy as fuck. Tom is trying to get it in with Sandra Bullock, because obviously. Yeah. The drug dealer and the cop wannabe girl start banging.
But then Olympia's showing up explain where the 2 kids came from, because the whole time I was like, okay, how many pregnancies did Sandra Bullock get?
That was good though.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
So the movie cuts, like I said, it cuts to and from the past and present, and she has 2 kids in present, and like we're like,
so it's like, we know she's pregnant.
She's pregnant with one. I think I found Rick's face. I found Rick's face.
Wow, babe. Good job.
All right, my job here is done. My job here is done.
No, you don't get to tap out.
That's what she said. Anyways, she is right here. Love you. So then, Dumpling shows up. Blah blah blah. And then they're like, oh shit, we need food. So then they have to. They're like, okay, we need like the Carl or Charlie, the big guy from Get Out, is like, oh my god, I worked at a supermarket and I locked the door behind me. Wow. Like,
convenient.
And you think it's like some kind of like crazy shutter door, like maybe it's
just like a nice little lock.
A nice little lock that you use.
To be fair, if everybody's killing themselves, like, who's gonna go steal the food?
Baby, I've been saying my entire life that if the world comes to an end, I'm going straight to Bass Pro Shop. I work there. I know where everything's at. They have like these blast doors that close down because it's Dolphin Mall, Miami. Like the people there are crazy. They have like this emergency protocol. Like if the fucking people go wild, they close everything down. Like they have guns there.
Oh my god.
Like camping equipment. They have a whole fish tank full of like.
We're gonna get a letter from Bass Pro.
We'll be set. We'll be set. Anyways, so this guy's like, oh my god, yeah, lock the door behind me. Like, wow, like someone give Charlie a promotion. He actually locked the door. The world's ending and he locked the door behind him.
No,
like,
no,
wow.
but then my favorite part is that after he says this, everybody is like dying to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, if it was me, maybe I'm a little coward. But I'd be like, okay, I'll be here when you guys get back.
I'll be here. Like, let me know how it goes. Good luck, fam.
Like, I'm good.
I got the next one.
Both pregnant ladies.
Both pregnant ladies.
They're like, no, we're gonna go. And everybody's like, all right, fine.
Dumpling goes too?
Yes.
Both.
Oh, no.
Dumpling
She wanted to go.
She's
like,
I'm like, how big was this car?
Like, I'll go this time, you go next time, okay?
Okay.
Like, she like little...
So,
she placated her.
Tom, Sandra Bullock, Charlie, John Malkovich, and not Dumpling. No, wait.
Look up this guy's name.
Who's the other guy that goes? It's John Malkovich, Dumpling.
It wasn't either...
Wasn't it the drug dealer guy?
Was it?
I think it was the drug dealer guy. He
I
goes.
don't remember.
Whatever. The 5 people are John Malkovich, Dumpling, Sandra Bullock. No, not Dumpling. Fuck. John Malkovich, Sandra Bullock, Charlie, Tom, and the drug dealer. They get into this car and they're like, oh my god, like how are we gonna drive this if we can't see anything? And then Tom's like, we'll block out the windows, and they literally paint the windows and put newspaper and shit to block out the windows. And they're like, how are we gonna drive? And like, oh, we'll use the proximity warning thing. Which, babe, I'm sorry, my suspension of disbelief can only go so far. There are bodies and abandoned cars in this fucking road, and they use the proximity warning on their car to navigate out of there.
Why don't they say his name? Baby?
Kiss my ass, whatever. So they use that shit, and they get to the grocery store, and how did they get into the grocery store without dying? Oh, they blindfold their way out, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they like conveniently make it to the grocery store using the proximity warning without running into anything. They run over some bodies, and they make like these little like little jokes about it. Oh, it's just a speed bump. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Mm-hmm. Kind of shit. They get in there and they have like a little party. John Malkovich gets drunk off of like half a bottle of whiskey. I think Tom and Sandra Bullock have like a little like flirtation thing going on there.
Yeah, he's like, because she's like, oh, I would have, like, basically she's older than him.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, like I would have been your babysitter, and he's like, oh, my hot babysitter.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you're only saying that because the world's ending. He's like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. He shot his shot.
Like, all right.
He shot his shot.
She's like, I'll take it.
Yeah. And then...
I'll allow it.
And then you have this part where John Malkovich is like screaming, everyone come here, have an announcement, why don't we just stay here? And I was like, damn, they should just stay there. Like, why don't they just go back?
His name's Charlie.
Yeah, good job, babe. Why don't they just go back, get everyone else, and come back into the freaking grocery store? Like, they literally were set there.
Yeah.
They were set.
Yeah.
And then to break this up, that whole idea up, because like John Malkovich is like, why don't we just do this? And Sandra Bullock's like, because we're not assholes. It's like, okay, we need you to come up with a better reason for that, because homegirl, like, this is a really good point. Like, go back and get her. But to her case, John Malkovich was saying like to abandon everybody else.
Yeah.
He was being a dick. He's like, I have no obligation to go back for them.
I'm like, damn. And I know what you're gonna be like.
No, maybe I go back for you. I go back to you. I don't have everything, you know, like I have food, alcohol, but missing your face.
That's
face.
what you're missing.
Your face. Your beautiful face. I love you.
Anyways,
and then you start hearing knocking, like someone like aggressively knocking somewhere, and it's coming from like the refrigerator, I guess, this big ass refrigeration system.
Oh yeah.
And it's like knocking, saying, "Help me, help me!" And then they're like, "Do we let it?" And Tom is like, "Let's open the door." Tom was like very trusting for everybody.
Yeah.
And then he's like, John Malkovich is obviously like, "No, let's not do anything. Let's not do anything." And then Charlie's like, "Oh my god, I recognize that voice. That's like Crazy Boy." Fish Fingers. His name is fucking Fish Fingers.
Ew.
I literally could not stop laughing. Like, am I supposed to take this seriously? And then he's like, "Oh, Fish Fingers. He's crazy, but he's always nice to me." You're like, okay. So they open the door and Fishfinger starts going fucking wild.
Yeah, he's an asshole, but he's nice to me.
Yeah, starts going wild, and then like
that's when we first see that there are people who react to this differently.
Right.
Because he starts saying that they have to see, that they have to open their eyes and they have to look at it.
Right.
That the world has to see. And so he tries to. What is it? This is where you saw it differently than I did. How I saw it was that he was trying to get out, but like to drag them out to see this thing. But but he was in a no, babe. It wasn't a fridge. It was a loading dock.
But it was wasn't it cold in there?
No.
I could have sworn I saw like cold mist. Whatever.
No, it was a loading dock. Yeah. So it did have access to the outside. So yeah, that is what he was trying to do. So he's trying to get these people out to force them to look at the things.
You're right. Yeah, so he's like trying to force people to go in there and like I guess look at the demons or the fuck they are, and then like Charlie sacrifices himself, which was really dumb. Like they could have just kicked this simpleton out of here and just like.
He was very large.
I don't care, man. Like. He was very large. He literally throws his body at this guy and, like, perfectly makes it into the door, and they close it behind them, and then you hear him dying. Which is whatever. And then the blood seeps through the door, like, very cliche. Mm-hmm. Whatever. So then Charlie's out of the picture. And then they go back. They never mention the grocery store again. They go back to the house. They have more boring-ass scenes, and I'm not sure if the next scene I'm about to say came before or after the crazy fish finger guy. But remember that scene where like they're on the boat and it's like 17 hours in the river, and then they had that whole scene where she runs into the guy, the crazy guy,
the other crazy guy.
Yeah, I think that was our first indication that there were people who could see them and were going nuts, right? Or was it really fish fingers? I can't believe I'm saying that. I guess it was fish fingers, right? Or was it the guy on the river?
I think it may have been the guy on the river.
I think it was the guy on the river.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the first time we get an indication that there are people who can see them is the guy on the river. And basically it's like some Walking Dead.
He literally looks like a lumberjack.
Yeah. Like
your stereotypical lumberjack.
She's on the river on a boat, and he's walking up to the boat. And she has a gun.
But of course she
starts shooting at nothing.
Closed.
And he's like saying, you have to open your eyes, come on. And then he tries to attack them. It was like this Walking Dead-esque battle where like they're fighting for each other's limbs and shit and grabbing onto things. He takes her gun away, and then she gets him with a machete, miraculously not murdering her kids in the process. Mm-hmm. And then the guy dies, but like muttering shit like, "Oh, you have to see, it's beautiful." And then later on, we see her with a gun again. Like, I'm sorry, that's a plot hole. So back to the cabin. They're in the cabin. And what happens then, baby? Is that when Gary shows up? They have some more scenes.
So the cop and the drug dealer steal the car.
They steal the car, which is like I guess their way of like making this a big deal.
Yeah, like they were just like plot advancement.
Yeah, they steal the car. So I guess they get a little more desperate, and then they get another person knocking on the door. And what's like, baby, isn't he the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean?
I don't know.
I think he's the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. Whatever, the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean shows up, and first they don't want to let him in, or they want to let him in, but John Malkovich is like, no.
They should have listened to him.
They should listen to him. He gets in there and he's like saying how he was attacked. They were attacked by a bunch of crazy people from some kind of mental institution. And he's saying that they didn't see, like they didn't have blindfolds, that they were walking around like with the like they could see shit, you know. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to make them see. And he basically describes this whole scenario where like all their friends were like lined up to like see, and then like they would either see, go crazy, or they'd see and kill themselves. And then it turns out that he was one of those people that he was talking about, which was a cool reveal. Yeah. But at the same time, kind of convenient.
Yeah, like we were talking about this earlier, and it just made no sense how he all of a sudden decided that because Mallory and Olympia go into birth at the exact same time. Yeah. Exact same time. Just like I was just like, what? Whatever. And he decides that there's a perfect time to lay out all his drawings.
Yeah.
All of them.
All These are my pretty drawings.
Yeah, he lays all of them out and starts drawing, like, frantically.
Yeah.
And that, I just felt like it was, like, purely for the audience. Like, if I feel like it had no motivation. Like, I get it, okay, he's crazy, like, so he just does things. No, it felt like, okay, this is where we show the audience that he's bad, and in the process, we'll show them kind of what these creatures look like to the human eye.
It didn't really flow well. It went from, I guess, them letting him in. I'm not sure if the car was stolen before or after that.
It was before.
Before, whatever. They let him in. They have this whole debacle. John Malkovich goes nuts, and he's like, he grabs a gun from.
Well, he doesn't go nuts. He doesn't trust him. He can tell he's lying.
Yeah, but then he also threatens everybody else. Like, if you want to save anybody, you go outside.
Yeah.
Because every time we've had every interaction with the outside, something's happened, which doesn't make any sense because they've only ever had 2 interactions with the outside.
Yeah.
Which was basically Dumpling and the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. And
the grocery store, to be honest, didn't turn out that bad. They got a bunch of food and lost one mouth to feed. And it's not exactly like they were like really close to Charlie to begin with.
Oh my god.
Whatever. So I guess like they did this. They wanted John Malkovich to go nuts and be super untrustworthy. So then he's like threatening everybody, like, oh, if you want to let him in, you're going outside, because he grabs a gun from Sandra Bullock, whatever. And then Super Nice Playbook Lady comes out of fucking nowhere and bashes him in the head, knocks him out, and then they lock him in the garage. And then it makes it seem like a lot of time has gone by, because the next scene is them giving birth to the kids. Like, they both go into labor. Sandra Bullock and Dumpling go into freaking labor. Right? Dumpling?
Every time we call her Dumpling, I die a little bit.
God, guys, just picture a Dumpling, and this is the character that I'm talking about.
Just watch the movie. It's a great feel-good
movie. Yeah, very great. Eat dumplings while you're watching the movie. Get some sushi while you're watching the movie. Oh, anyways, so it makes it seem like a lot of time has gone by because they're both going into labor, and then, like, while everyone's busy, like, making sure these babies are, like, dead and they were born, I guess, like, it's a successful birth. Parts of the Caribbean guy.
Oh, because stereotypically, Little Silver Linings Playbook Lady, the old lady, of
course.
Always the old lady knows exactly how to.
I need water and blankets and sponges.
Yeah, the old lady is always a midwife. Yeah, like, she just magically knows.
Always. So, like, while everyone's upstairs making sure these babies are born, okay, like, Parts of the Caribbean guy pulls out his sketchbook out of his asshole because I don't know where he was carrying this shit.
Didn't he have a bag?
No, he didn't have a bag. He was in a suit. Like, he had no bag.
Yeah, but I thought he had, like, a little, like, bag.
Maybe he pulled it out of his ass. This is the deleted scene of him pulling his shit out of his ass to the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song.
Yeah.
And then pulls out this cool looking sketchbook, and he pulls out all these pictures of these demons. And to the movie's credit, these demons do look really creepy and really cool. But then he starts laying them out, and it literally felt like a scene that was just for the audience. Like, there's literally no logical reason why anyone will pull out all these drawings and lay them out on the table the way he did. And then he just like, okay, these are my drawings. And then he starts walking upstairs, and he proceeds his like little massacre spree.
Yeah.
He opens the garage door for John Malkovich, so that John Malkovich can see one of the demons and go crazy. And then he knocks out Tom when Tom goes to see what's going on. And then he goes upstairs and attacks the ladies. He makes Dumpling... He opens the windows, and he makes Dumpling look out the window.
Which we already knew she was going to die. Yeah, because I figured out that...
They figured it out, yeah.
I was like, oh, duh, 2 kids...
She's pregnant.
And they don't... And we thought that they looked like they were different ages, but I guess not, because they were literally born a minute apart.
Yeah.
So we figured out that the other baby had to be Olympia's, because what other reason would her character have for existing in this movie?
Is Miss Dumpling.
But yeah, so we knew that she was gonna die, but it was sad how it happened.
I really think her death scene was very funny. I really think they had no idea that this was a plus size model, and they could not have given her like a more appropriate death. Like, they made her run through a window and fall, and you see her body falling. It's just like, did they not know what they were doing here? I think they did. I think the guy who wrote that scene had a sense of humor. Anyways, So then, before she kills herself, Sandra Bullock convinces her to like hand over the baby. Mm-hmm. She hands over the baby, and then Pirates of the Caribbean is trying to make Sandra Bullock look, and then John Malkovich didn't die. He somehow made it out of the garage, made it upstairs with a shotgun, blindfolded, or like with his eyes closed, and he found the shotgun, and now he's pointing it at God knows what because he can't see. And they had this little weird scene where like Pirates of the Caribbean's like toying him, like going side to side, like I'm over here, mm-hmm. Hello, hi, and John Malkovich like keeps like moving his gun to where the voice is, and he shoots, gets this guy in the arm, of course. And then this guy tackles him. They fall down the stairs.
Let's remember that for later, for the end, when Tom becomes like 007.
Right. Oh my god, yes.
Oh no, he was in a wreck. Okay.
What was it? What did I say to remember later? Damn.
This is a bad thing for both of us with our shitty memories.
Anyways, so then So they fall down the stairs, and then Pirates of the Caribbean stabs John Malkovich with a pair of scissors.
And he killed Silver Linings Playbook.
And then that's right, he made Silver Linings Playbook girl look, and she killed herself with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, that was
the same scissors that killed John Malkovich. Damn, those scissors ruined, like they ruined everyone's lives. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so, and then the Pirates of the Caribbean plays a tug of war game with Tom on the floor for the shotgun, and then. Like super cliche, the camera cuts to Sandra Bullock and you hear shotguns and you're like, oh my god, obviously Tom killed him, and you're making it seem like it wasn't Tom and it was Pirates of the Caribbean who killed him, because we all know what happens. We've already seen the rest of the movie, so we know that nothing bad's gonna happen to Sandra Bullock and the two kids who are named boy and girl, by the way. And then Tom comes. Apparently, Tom was the one that killed Pirates of the Caribbean. Tom goes and gets Sandra Bullock. Like, we gotta get out of here, baby. Let's go. We gotta go. Come on. Come with me.
Oh my god, dude.
You know, like, this guy is definitely getting it in because, you know, hot babysitter. So then, and then it cuts to more scenes. Like, in between, they cut to, like, more scenes of Sandra Bullock in present day. They lose their bag, or they run into a
rock.
Was it in a boat? They went into a boat.
It was a boat.
A ship, a sunken boat, or like whatever, a capsized boat. Yeah. And then they somehow make it to shore, and she gives the kids another one of those like Sandra Bullock speeches, like "Don't move or you'll die, don't follow me or you'll die, blah blah blah, you'll die." Mm-hmm. And then she goes and finds this blindfoldedly. She finds like a hospital or some shit.
Yeah, that's what always like I think shocked me at all times, because and I guess like at this point it's been 5 years, so she's like she's used to moving blindfolded, but it was just always so convenient how like it just looked too easy.
Yeah.
Like it looked so easy that every time that she just wanted to find something, like it just didn't look like that hard.
Yeah, I agree. She finds this thing, and then again she's in this house and like, or this facility, and then she gets into this facility and she takes off her blindfold again, like making it seem like these creatures can't open doors, they can't go inside.
Well, no, we know this at this point, like.
But this happened, like, I think we fucked up with
this was already like halfway. This was already towards the end of the movie, babe.
Okay. Yeah. And then she like hears something outside, or like she had a string leading to the boat where the kids were, and the string's going nuts, leading her to presume that one of the kids is moving, I guess. I don't fucking know. So
I think that was like that the thing was messing with her line.
You think so? I thought the things couldn't really touch anything.
Yeah, they could.
Well, the daughter was moving. Like, she was walking.
The daughter was walking, but she wasn't tied to that line.
I think she was grabbing onto the line, though.
Yeah, you're right.
So the daughter starts grabbing onto the line that's leading to Sandra Bullock, and then Sandra Bullock finds her, scolds her, basically, like, belittles her, says, I can't trust you. Mm-hmm. Like, always save yourself over me, which, like, honestly was a very heartfelt, like, moment.
Yeah, but it didn't feel heartfelt.
Okay, so you disagree.
No. I like, I hear what you're saying. Like, it's, like, heartfelt. Like, yeah, save yourself over me, but, like, because have we got into the scene with Tom and Mallory fighting yet?
No, not yet, no. I don't think that's happened yet in the movie.
Okay.
Because all her scenes when they're on the river...
She's always very mean to girl.
She's very mean to girl. She even contemplates, like, sacrificing her.
Yeah.
That's, like, for me, like, I think I have a really good memory of the movie but I get a little confused as to what present day scenes happen in regards to the
in correlation with the
So I guess let's just go into.
I think we can just go into now
present time.
Yeah.
So in present time, that whole scene happens, and then they. Oh, we gotta do the whole Tom scene though.
Yeah, we can do. Okay, so. Yeah, so.
Are they still in the house? They're in the same house, living in that house, right?
No, it was a different house.
Different house?
It looked like a different house.
I want to say it's the same house.
It looked completely different.
Man,
and it was
close to the river. Close to the river too. So after the whole scene with Pirates of the Caribbean, somehow Tom, it cuts to 5 years later, and it's Tom, Sandra Bullock, and the two kids, who they have named boy and girl. I guess because Sandra Bullock is like convinced they're gonna die or something.
Yeah, I took that as she's scared to get attached to them.
Yeah, so they have a couple scenes of like teaching them how to like live without like seeing and stuff. Like she was like banging rocks together and saying like listen to the sound. What is that? What is it?
Well, yeah, like she was trying to like get them used to like what sounds sound like close and far and around.
Okay.
Like she was trying to like teach them.
There's a scene where Tom was like telling them a story about when he was a kid in a tree and shit. And then Sandra Bullock like cuts it off, saying like, "Why are you teaching this? Like, they're never gonna see other kids and have fun." And they had this whole like conversation, like fight. Like he's basically telling her like, "You have to love these kids, even though they're gonna die."
They need a mother. Like,
they need a mother. Yeah. No, Tom is unsung hero, bro.
Yeah.
Unsung hero. So then they hear this like broadcast of this guy saying like, "Come to us. Like we have shelter." And he tells them how to get there. He's basically saying you gotta follow the river until the rapids, and then after the rapids end, like get off, and then listen out for birds. Oh, we never got to the birds, babe.
Oh, that she found birds?
This movie's called Bird Box, and we forgot about the birds.
I mean, but they don't really play a huge role. Basically, really she finds these birds that made it through like the whole chaos.
They were in
the grocery store. She finds them. She's like, all right, I'm going to keep you. And then we start to realize that the birds basically freak out anytime that...
the demons are around.
Either the demons are around or that, like, any of the crazy people are like, acting up. Because it started freaking out with fish fingers.
But I think it's because there was a demon where he was.
Okay. Yeah, because then... But then, Gary, that's what Pirates of the Caribbean's name is.
Puts the fish in, like, a refrigerator. The fish. Fish fingers. Fish fingers got me fucked up. He puts the birds in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Which is like a really funny scene to me. He's like, I'm just gonna put these birds in the fridge. Save them for later. Like.
Yeah. So at this point, we know that the birds are like some kind of like indicator. They're the canaries in the gold mine.
Yes. Very like Arrival. It was like Arrival when like they go into like the ship and the birds are like there.
That's another movie that got ripped off. So we see them like living their life, and basically like Sandra Bullock is focused on survival because, as she said, I was raised by wolves. So,
it's like a douchebag's MySpace bio.
And then she's going on all these raids. And then we see these people.
She goes on a run for supplies.
Yeah, and she has like a close run-in with.
She hears people outside driving.
Yeah, and they're like skidding around, and they're talking about like, oh, this place looks empty. So it's like they're not blindfolded.
She got lucky as fuck.
So it's like, oh, they're not, as usual. They're not blindfolded. So
she goes back and tells Tom like these people are driving around.
No more raids alone.
Runs.
Whatever.
I don't think she's raiding anything.
Runs.
She's not playing Clash of Clans.
And
And then I think that's when the whole fight happens between the two of them, and then they get the emergency broadcast, and then people out of nowhere, like after they get the emergency not the emergency, but the broadcast from the safe haven place. So like the guy in the voice is basically saying follow the river all the way down to the rapids. After the rapids, dock, and then listen out for birds because we have a lot of them here. That's why I was saying we forgot about the birds. So then like the next scene almost is like them hearing cars pull up to their house. And
no, it wasn't to their house. They all went on a run together because I think they were getting supplies to go to this place, and that's when the other people come.
I could have sworn that the other people showed up to their house.
No, I don't think so.
Whatever, the other people are there, and you have like the crazy guy from Dark Knight, and like prisoners. Like he plays the crazy guy in every movie, and they're all like it's like him, 2 other guys, and a girl. Basically, like you need to see, it's beautiful. It's gonna cleanse the world, kind of shit. Sandra Bullock and the 2 kids go out in the back, and Tom Tom does the whole sacrifice thing, which I guess I really feel like didn't need to happen, but whatever. We all knew he was gonna die.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the front and he's blindfolded. It's a guy with a blindfold and a shotgun and like 10 people with guns who can see clearly pointing at him.
Yeah.
And then a gunfight ensures, and he wipes out like the entire fucking team blindfolded. Mm-hmm. The last guy, admittedly he gets with his eyes, but he's already gone kind of cuckoo. Kills the guy, and then he kills himself, and then you have the whole thing of Sandra Bullock on the river thing. And then Sandra Bullock, they go through the whole rapids thing, and before they hit the rapids, she gives like this little speech to the kids saying like basically one of us is gonna have to see in order for us to go. Mm-hmm. Basically, like one of them is gonna have to sacrifice themselves, which is an impossible decision because you have the adult who knows what's going on, her son.
Yeah, and we know that boy is hers because during the birth scene they say that Olympia had a girl.
Right.
And which explains why she's like a little bit more mean to her.
She's a little mean to girl. Mm-hmm. And then, so it's kind of like leading it on to as if like she's gonna sacrifice the girl,
which is fucked.
Because the girl's like, she's like the son's like, I'll do it, and she's like, no, I'm gonna choose, which is kind of fucked.
It's super fucked.
Super fucked. And then she changes her mind. She's like, no one's gonna see her. It's gonna go blind.
It's like the flashback scene that makes her feel bad. She looks back to like talking to Olympia, and she's like, no, I can't do that.
Whatever. So they go to the rapids blind.
Like, nobody's gonna see.
Yeah, no one's gonna see. She realizes that she's being a fucking piece of shit. They go to the rapids blind. They capsize. They go through. They survive anyways, and they land.
That's where I'm like, okay,
whatever.
Sure.
And they make it through the rapids perfectly fine. They land in the forest, and then they have this whole scene where like Sandra Bullock. Like, they get separated, and, like, the girl won't go to Sandra Bullock because she's scared of her, with good reason. And then Sandra Bullock has her whole, like, meltdown, like, I love you, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah.
Because the little boy says she's scared of you.
Yeah, which was okay.
Yeah.
Admittedly charming scene. Mm-hmm. The girl gets to her, and they basically get chased down by a bunch of fucking, like, gusts of wind, which we're led to believe are the demons, which can't do anything to you unless you open your eyes. So, like, they're running around like they're running away from velociraptors, but they're just gusts of wind. Yeah. That's all they are. Whatever. They make it to the salvation place, and it turns out it's a school of blind kids, which... Okay. like I actually, that's my first time laughing at that. Like once you say it out loud, it's like you watch it, you're like, oh my god, of course they're blind, they have nothing to worry about. But like saying out loud, they make it to a school of blind kids, and they and they run into the doctor from the beginning, the maternity doctor.
They should have stuck with the doctor. They should have just never left the OBGYN.
And homegirl looks. Man, she looks like she hasn't been through a single thing.
She's chilling.
She's got her hair washed. She's had a pedicure. Like, she is good, man. And then, like, the movie cuts with, like, the kids playing and Sandra Bullock looking up and
naming them on the spot.
Oh, she names... That's right. The maternity doctor's like, who are these?
Boy and girl.
This
and
is
the doctor's like,
Bro, if she had named them boy and girl, the doctor would be like, of course. Of course. I'm surprised you didn't name them B and Melon.
Like, he's like, I'm boy, I'm girl. And the doctor looks at her like, really, bro?
Actually, your name is Olympia. And your name
it's like when you're out in public with your parents as a kid and like you say some shit and they give you the look. And it's like, no, actually.
Alright, so now that we just got that out of the way.
That we rambled an hour of your lives away.
Oh my god, that was rough. I'm exhausted. So, for continuity...
tell them how we define continuity.
Continuity is like, if you establish that you need X to get to Y, and then later on you get to Y without using X, that's what I consider continuity. So like Sandra Bullock being very against having a kid, that was continuity conscience. But there was some other things there that just didn't make any sense, like the gun disappearing. Charlie was kind of like a chicken shit the entire time, and then he sacrifices himself, which that happens in movies all the time. Mm-hmm. But it was very fast. Like he didn't want to go on this run, and then he just like rushes through fish fingers mm-hmm. into death. Like that's like a little bit of a continuity issue. What else did we think was like a continuity issue?
Give me a second. I think
I ain't like the whole John Malkovich, like he's kind of like up and down with his character.
No, I think for me like the biggest like issue was Gary, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. Like I felt like I get it, like they were trying to make him look like snake in the grass, but I just didn't get his deal.
I like that expression.
But I guess that would be more like character development.
Yeah. I don't know why I feel like I had more issues with continuity in this film. Maybe it wasn't really that bad with continuity. It's just the story. This was just...
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's like the story that they were trying to tell was a little unclear. Yeah. Like I get the whole themes of like loneliness and attachment and like facing your fears and having to like basically literally face these like unknown fears, which mm-hmm. It's like relatable to life. Like you don't really know what you're gonna be facing all the time. But it was. I felt like the 3 different timelines. Oh my god, yeah. They really didn't do much for my focus, and I have a good focus. Like I can sit through movies, like I binge shows. Yeah. It just I wasn't sure. I guess like they gave us too much information at the beginning. Yeah. By letting us know that she ends up alone with these 2 kids, it already they gave me too much information to a point where I didn't really care. Yeah. About everybody else because I knew that they ended up dead. Yeah. Of course, yeah. Maybe if it was a show or something where we have more time to get attached to these mm-hmm. characters, I'd be okay with that. But for a 2-hour movie, it just... that would be a pacing issue. Yeah, like I wasn't very invested.
Okay, so we'll give it a 0 at pacing, because I agree. The pacing was whack. Yeah. It was terrible. It's
like you'd have something really exciting happen, and then you're back to the melodrama.
It was like a Walking Dead episode. It was like a season of Walking Dead. Yeah. Like you have one crazy thing happen, and then 5 episodes of Carl. Like nothing happening. Yeah. Like Shannon was saying, like the 3 different timelines really were doing it for me. I feel like they should have just either picked one, done all 3 as one thing, mm-hmm. or just done something completely different. Because it was just really hard to stay focused, and it was really hard to stay invested because you know everyone's dead. Like if it had been, I feel like it would have been really cool if it had just been her and the kids on the boat, and then like little mini flashbacks. Like, the whole movie should have been about them on the boat and trying to get to salvation, and then
little flashbacks. They were just on a river. The journey was just river. It was a straight shot, so they couldn't really do that either.
Then to have it as like her, Tom,
but that's why we say like overall it's like a really cool concept. I just felt like the storytelling wasn't great, and the dialogue felt a little uninspired. It literally felt like a bunch of pieces like that the writers like picked and chose from different horror movies and things that have been done before and kind of tried to do something new. Yeah. And they relied on the fact that they had a good cast. Yeah. But in reality, like it's not really that as groundbreaking, I think, as everybody's like acting like it is. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. I feel like everything that happened in the past, like 5 years ago, mm-hmm. was pointless.
I wouldn't say pointless, but it all felt like...
What's the point?
It felt like group therapy. Like, it felt like Sandra Bullock was in a room with, like, a bunch of people that... It was like the Ghost of Christmas Past mm-hmm. times 10. Like, it was like everybody in that room's role throughout the whole movie was to, like, make her change in some way. But it didn't.
But like the fact, like you said, it kind of like you know that everyone's gonna die because mm-hmm. it's just the 3 of them. So you're not really scared. You're not really worried about this. You're not really invested. I feel like it would have been really scary if it had just been the 3 of them, and with like little mini flashbacks of people.
And then it was a happy ending.
And then it has a happy ending.
So it just all felt too convenient. Like it all. Felt,
the movie was literally super like convenient.
A typical like little hero's journey.
Alright, so character development, we're going to give it a 0.5 because Sandra Bullock was the only character that got developed. Yeah. Tom literally said the same.
Every other character was one note the entire time.
Was one note the entire time. So we gave it... should we give it a 1 for continuity then? Because I feel like it wasn't really that bad.
Yeah.
So 1 for continuity, 0.5 for character development, 0 for pacing.
Yeah.
The acting was good.
Yeah, acting
was that's a 1. Script?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
No. 0.5. 0.5 or 0?
Give it a 0.5 because it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Production design was good.
Nice. Production design, it was beautiful.
Everything was good, so it's a 1.
Yeah.
Cinematography is a 1. It looked really good. Soundtrack, I don't even remember like the music at all. I don't remember.
Yeah, no.
0. Even the way like the creatures sound when like the gust would come up. You
couldn't hear it. Like it was just like.
Yeah, if we didn't have like
the
subtitles on, you was like okay. I'm gonna give the plot. I don't even want to give it a 0.5. I want to give it a 0.
That's the thing is like an effort was made. Yeah, 0.5. Like there was an effort. There was a plot. Like you could follow the story. It's just as people who watch movies a lot and we see a Sandra Bullock movie, we're gonna expect a lot. Yeah. Especially after, because I personally like the reason we watched it. We even watched the trailers because I had heard so many good things about this movie.
Yeah.
So it's not awful. It's just it could have been so great because the concept was really cool. It's just it felt like a lazy.
It could have been a trilogy. I know that sounds kind of whack, but they could have had a movie of like the past.
Maybe.
Just not what they did.
Yeah, just not what they did.
Just not what they did. Okay, success in delivery of the message. So I guess the message. I guess we give it a 1. I guess, but what was the message? That you have to love something even though.
I guess it's like you have to live regardless of like your fears.
Yeah.
And
I got that.
Yeah, and it's like even though it's like there's a million monsters outside, you still have to figure out a way to like get through it and
live, not just survive. Live.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of like it's also they had to spell that out for us.
Yes and no. I feel like they say that like Tom literally says it.
That's what I'm saying. They literally spelled it out for us.
Oh yeah. No, I thought you said. Never mind. I'm confused.
It's okay. The movie scrambled their brain. Okay, so. We have 2, 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5. Changed.
Okay.
It went up 0.5. 1.5. How? I don't like the movie any more than I did starting out.
I think because I was nice on.
I was nice on continuity.
I think we got a little nice.
I was nice on continuity.
I think we were a lot more ruthless in our
initial. We were like, yo, fuck this movie. The movie just had so many like.
It's what we kept expecting.
Gag moments.
Yeah.
Like Dumpling jumping out the window. Like they couldn't give her like a
more dignified death.
A more dignified death.
Yeah.
Just like this little overweight girl like jumping out of a window. Like that looked like it belonged in a fail compilation. Like Instagram, like fail hood videos. And then you had what else was funny, man? Fish fingers. And like the safe places of school of blind kids. Like I understand that that's supposed to be heartfelt, and I felt very happy watching it. But
yeah, I think what saves this movie for me is the whole concept of like the mentally ill patients.
Oh yes, I agree.
Not being affected in the same way as everyone else.
I agree. That was really cool.
Because it's like. So these are like the people that are technically ostracized. Like they kept saying like, oh, it's gonna cleanse the world. You have to look at it. You have to cleanse the world. But it's like we as a society do this to people with mental health issues. Like we cleanse them out of our society and like put them somewhere else or tell them that they're not normal. Oh. And so it was cool to see. I mean, it's cool but sad like how these like other entities preyed on that and used them to carry out their agenda.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting to see the juxtaposition.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that the crazy people were the ones that were okay with everything,
and that they can look normal because Gary looked normal. Like you and me.
Yeah.
And it's like you never really know what somebody is battling.
Yeah. I did like that if the director or the writer was trying to do like some kind of like what's the word? Like a message for like society.
Like social message.
Yeah, like kind of like we're always turning a blind eye to those with mental illness, but now the people who are seeing are the ones who are blind, and like the ones who have been like kind of like shunned.
Yeah,
and put away.
Said, like,
now
the way that you view the world is wrong is actually like how the world is.
Yeah. So it's kind of like welcome to my world thing. Like look at what I have to see all the time, kind of thing, which was really cool.
Yeah.
If they had more of that, I think it would have been a lot more interesting.
That's why, like, I think if this had been a show, it would have been a
one season show.
Better. Yeah, like a miniseries.
Yeah. Please don't drag this along.
No. Miniseries.
The Walking Birds.
Stop it.
The Walking Boxes.
Yeah. It's like the whole show is just them running from safe house to safe house.
And they named it Bird Box to make it sound edgy.
Yeah, because
Bird Box.
Yeah, the birds aren't really that big of a deal
at all. They don't save their lives like once.
Yeah, they don't.
Because all they're doing is
they're like a slight alert system.
But why?
The blind guy even says it. He's like, yeah, they let the seeing folk know when the things are around. I guess it's something. Like he even knows it. He even says it. He's like, yeah, I guess.
But you can't walk outside without being blindfolded, so you don't need to be alert. It's kind of like they're always blind outside, so don't. Like, they're always going outside with their blindfolds on, so why would you need to know if something's around?
I don't know.
The birds
like I said, like, there's just a lot of questions.
The birds literally never, like, played a crucial role.
Yeah, they didn't.
They got put in the fridge. Like, that's the other gag moment. Like, that, like, you know that imagine that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean 3 where, like, the really bad commissioner guy, what the fuck his name is the whole ship's falling apart and he's walking in slow motion. Yeah. That's what it was. Like he was like walking in slow motion. Commodore! There we go, the Commodore guy. He literally puts the birds in the fridge. And then they get taken out like 3 minutes later, so it's like what?
Pobrecitos.
It would have been brutal if he killed them. It would have been brutal if he took them out.
I guess that's the thing. Like for such something that was supposed to be so disturbing, like I'm sorry, maybe I've just been desensitized to this world, but like I expected a little bit more disturbing things to happen. Like,
and like I feel like we haven't touched upon the fact that we didn't get to see anything. Like we didn't see the demons, we didn't see, and I know that.
Yeah, but we agreed that we're okay with that because, I mean. You agreed with me last night.
I agreed with you last night. I'm like, I'm gonna check this recording real quick. Guys?
Well, I think I'm glad that we don't actually get to see them because even though I obviously like the whole movie, it's like these creatures that you don't see. It's like obviously like you're curious and you want to know. I don't trust any CGI anything anymore. I think it would have looked cheesy.
That's what I agree with.
And I like the idea that it looks different to everyone.
Yeah.
That it's not just this like one monster, and like the sketches were creepy as fuck.
They were.
So I thought that was a better
at least like approach. A shadow, like at least like
we did see shadows though.
I mean like kind of like you know what's that movie that it's gonna shit at me, Insidious, like that like lipstick face doesn't look bad. Lipstick face looks creepy as fuck. Like you can do a practical effects looking demon. Yeah. It doesn't have to be CGI. At least like one. You know, like it's kind of hard to. I know that some people are like a lot of people get scared of what you can't see, but for this one, it didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
It didn't really do it, especially because it's kind of like up in the air as to what exactly they do see. So it's like, why am I scared? Just close your eyes, man. Yeah. Like you're blind now.
Yeah, in general, I think we agree that a little bit more definition about what it is would have helped with the scare factor because I never felt scared.
It would have been really cool.
I was curious.
Like I'm not sure which Dawn of the Dead it is. It's a Dawn of the Night of the Living Dead. It is. It was like one of the ones that came out in the 80s. There's a part where like they grab one of the zombies because the zombies they can talk in that movie, and they grab it and like they talk to it. And it's like, oh, I want to eat brains. Like I love brains now. It's like okay, like that was kind of corny, but it would have been really cool if they had gotten like let's say Jurassic Park guy, like after he saw the thing and like hey like even though he's crazy, I'm sure he can still talk. He might want to kill himself.
I think that's what they tried to do with the seeing mental eye patients. How they would talk about it, but they all said the same thing.
But they're nuts. Like I want someone who because there's two types of people. When you see the monster, there's two types of people. There's people who go nuts, and they can still see, and there's people who kill themselves. So I want to talk to one of the people who wants to kill himself. Like, what did you just see?
Okay.
Why do you want to kill yourself?
Okay.
Like I feel like that would like you don't have to show me the monster, but then like at least shed some light as to why you want to kill yourself. Why is killing yourself the answer? You know?
Yeah.
And it kind of does. Like I'm sure some people out there who could be like people who have had issues with suicide, they could be a little triggered by that. It's like why are they so easily killing themselves? Kind of thing.
Well, you bring up a good point. It could also be like a lot of times it's like
we don't know
why.
Like
with depression, anxiety, a lot of times it's like there's no reason why you're feeling that way. It's, that's true. You just do.
That's true.
It's just like this sadness or this like feeling of like being overwhelmed. That, like,
dread.
Yeah, you just don't know where it comes from.
That's true. Yeah.
So that could also be like what they were going for.
Yeah. Then I feel like someone should have said something along those lines.
So I guess this movie, and maybe it's a little meta, like maybe in the way that I look at every single character is basically just like a mirror for, what's her name, Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Like maybe this movie is supposed to be like a mirror, like you see,
that's a good point.
to you, every person, the monster, is something different. So like that's a cool thing. Sure. I'll take it. I guess that's why I can't hate this movie. Because, like, it's not bad. Like, it's not, like, production-wise, it's not bad. And, like, I could see how it could be left up to interpretation.
But, look, here's the thing.
But it just doesn't always feel on purpose.
Right. Like, here's the thing. Like, we say all these things about how, like, it's supposed to be, like, not up in the air, but, like, up to interpretation. Maybe it can be like, depression, anxiety, like a message. But, like, the crazy people literally get taken over. Like, you literally see their eyes change. Yeah. So it literally is a demon. Yeah. So it's like, even if they wanted it to be, like, up in the air, it's not. They even tried to answer their own thing. Just very unsatisfactory.
Well, it's like what I was saying that I read. I don't remember where I read. I think it's on Twitter. That it's, like, basically, like, for the sane people, air quote sane people, it's, like we're used to living our day like ignoring the things that terrify us most. Like we pretend like everything's always fine, or we try and like push the things that scare us out of our minds. But like for someone dealing with mental illness, like they have to face their fears every single day, all the time. Yeah. And so in this situation, like with these demons, like they can only see the beauty. Like they don't see the fear. Like they're just like, oh, hello. Hello, new entity.
Hello, darkness.
But then, like, since we're constantly, like, repressing these fears, like, when we're faced with them, like, we literally can't handle it, and that's why everybody starts killing themselves.
Yeah. Well, I guess this what makes this movie good in that sense, that it like, makes you talk and think about certain things. But that's it. Because I guess the concept and ideas that it provokes are good, but the execution is terrible. The melodrama, the characters, the things that happen, it's kind of like you can see them coming. I'm a very emotional, and I'm a very emotional person. Like, I cry at commercials. I just didn't feel... Right. I didn't really feel much while watching it. Like, I that's my biggest thing with this movie. Like, because trust me, I've liked some terrible movies. Yeah, that same. I can admit that they're terrible, but I like them. Right. Because there's something that, like... about you that resonates with you. Right, but, like, with this movie in particular, I was just, I couldn't connect. Even with Sandra Bullock's, like, most intense scene, like, confessing her love for her not daughter, I didn't give a shit. Yeah, like, at this point, like, yeah, I got that's it. Like, I feel like I've said what I have to say. I literally just like, didn't care. I didn't care. Alright guys, thanks for joining us for our rant. I have put together maybe 3 pieces. I wish you guys could see this because it's such a mess. Yeah, it literally looks like chunky vomit. Ew, can we not? Sorry, horse lady. Well, thanks for having me on Reservoir Wolves. Of course, babe. We will have you on way more often. Hopefully next time we can get Anthony up in here. He's gonna listen to this like, what the fuck? Yeah. Any movies coming out that we want to see? I'm dying to watch Mary Poppins, even though you don't want to watch it with me. Jesus Christ, Mary Poppins. I think we're watching Aquaman soon. We might watch Aquaman. That might be some chunky vomit we can talk about. I don't know. I heard it was good. Oh my god. The same people who told you Bird Box was good? The internet told me Bird Box was good. Birdman. Birdman, Bird Box. Birdman's a good movie. Yeah, Birdman's alright, we'll watch something soon and we'll do a review. Maybe once I finish Outlander, we can do a review. Yeah, Shannon's making me watch Outlander. You like it. I like it a lot. Her and I've been trying to make her watch Hannibal. I watched a season and a half of Hannibal. Okay. Did you finish it? No, but we got busy and we started watching other things. Guys, he's never watched The Office or Parks and Rec. Like, and he doesn't understand how like detrimental that is to like his status as a member of society. Like, I thought you were gonna say it as your boyfriend. I was like, damn. No, baby, I love you anyway, but I'd love you more if I could quote things with you.
And let that be your incentive.
All right, guys, we're gonna watch The Office. All right, guys, we're gonna watch something soon. We'll do another review soon. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.